Hey, welcome back, South Coast peeps. Back, I don't know what week it is. Is it week 4 or 5 of groups? Anyways, we're having a good time. Last week we had a substitute. He did pretty good, but not as good as me. So I'm back, and we're going to be asking some questions, helping to guide your small group. And maybe you're meeting at the church on a Wednesday night. Maybe you're meeting in my home on a Sunday, or maybe you've started your own group in your own community. And so this is a resource to you, and we're excited about it. So we're in this series called God Given, and it's talking about kind of taking back the God-given rights that have been stolen from us, okay? And so this week, the topic that we talked about was time. And time's a kind of an interesting topic because sometimes we feel like we don't have enough time, sometimes we feel like we have more than enough. And I think that is dependent on how old we are. Little kids feel like a day is so long. It's like on the road trip when they're saying, "Are we there yet?" Right? And for us who have gotten, like me, now that I'm the one driving on the road trip and I've got a kid in the back, we're only 30 minutes into it before he starts losing his mind. And so it kind of is an interesting topic. But we have some questions we're going to lead into to start the conversation. So the first one here is Proverbs 9:10 says something that's pretty interesting. We want to start with this. It says, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom." And so kind of what we want to talk about is kind of that dynamic. A couple things. One, what is the fear of the Lord? What does that even mean? And the other thing would be, how does that lead us to the beginning of wisdom? So the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Let's talk about that. How is the fear of the Lord the beginning of wisdom? Ready, set, go. Great, so hopefully you had some good conversations around that. So the fear of the Lord is really, it's a reverence towards God, but I like to think of it like this, and it's not perfect obviously, but if I were to go to the Grand Canyon, it's not that I'm scared of the Grand Canyon, but it's so big and so vast that it has this kind of sobering feeling in the pit of my stomach, especially if I stand close to the edge. Or if I see a rushing river, right? It's beautiful, and if I was going with the river, it'd be quite awesome. But if I got against the flow, I'd be kind of, fearful of that river. And that's kind of how God is. God is so powerful and so big, but He does love you and wants a personal relationship with you. But if I was on God's bad side, it probably wouldn't be a good thing. But here's the next question we have. The next question, staying on the topic of wisdom, so let's stay in that mindset. Psalm 90:12 says, "Teach us to number our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom." Another kind of translation says, "Teach us the brevity of life." And so the question that we have is, how does the brevity of life and wisdom link together? So how does teaching us to number our days, how does that gain a heart of wisdom? How do those two things link? Understanding the brevity of life, how does that get us a better understanding of wisdom? So we're still on this topic of wisdom. Let's keep going and see what that brings us. Ready, set, go. All right, so hope you got some good answers. My kind of thought process on that is that the brevity of life, or knowing that life is numbered, our days are numbered, it teaches us wisdom in a way that it teaches us what's important about life. What are the important things? And it teaches us this balance of that life is short, but also that we have time to spend with others. And so should we spend our whole life trying to gain that extra buck, or should we spend our whole life really trying to cultivate a relationship with God, with our friends, our family, and all that kind of stuff? Okay. The next kind of, it's not a question, it's actually an exercise. This is different than what we've done before. But with your small group leader, I would love if you guys would read Psalm 90 together. And it's going to be kind of interesting. It's kind of a heavy psalm, but read it together, and then we're going to understand why it's written that way together, and it will kind of help inform this other side of the topic. Ready, set, go. Psalm 90. Okay, so that was pretty intense. Hopefully you got to this idea that Moses wrote Psalm 90, and it makes a lot of sense for Moses to write this kind of almost depressing, death-filled psalm that talks about the brevity of life. Why? Because him and Moses and the other Israelites wasted 40 years in the wilderness disobeying God, not doing what they're supposed to do. So he was hoping that maybe they would understand that life is shorter than they think, and they better get on to obeying God. And so that's kind of why it makes sense. But here's our last question that we'd love for you to talk about. If you were to audit your time, audit your life, and take timestamps of everything that you do, would you be proud of how you prioritize your life? So if you audited your life, kind of two questions. What would your priorities look like in that audit, and would you be proud of that? This is kind of a deeply personal question, but I think it's good that we talk about it because maybe we can find some life change through this conversation, because it's not good enough just to talk about the Bible. The Bible should be a transformative process. So if we audit our lives, what do our priorities look like, and are we happy with that? Ready, set, go. Cool, and this is just me closing it out. Maybe you made it to this part of the video, maybe you didn't, but something that we talked about on Sunday that we should prioritize is we should prioritize relationships. Relationship with God, relationship with our family, and relationship with others. The reason that's so important is because those are the only people we're going to see in heaven, is the people who are eternal. And so money's not going to be in heaven with us. Our nice house isn't going to be in heaven with us, or a nice car, or that adventure we took. Although those things are great, and it's not that those things are bad, but family, God, and others are more important. So let's spend time with people, building relationships, loving on each other. We love you. Don't forget, we got a trunk or treat coming up on October 28th, 6:30 to 8:30. It's going to be awesome. Bring some candy, bring some friends, and get ready to have some fun. All right, see ya. Bye.